Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this amazing conference. Have you been inspired yet? Yes. So just a little bit about myself. I started with Davis County Animal Care and Control about 17 years ago. I came in as an animal control officer. I was in that role for about 10 years. I was asked seven years ago to come in out of the field to really focus on lowering our euthanasia numbers and really pushing and promoting our adoptions. I'm going to give you some demographics of Davis County and our shelter. We are a nonprofit. We serve 17 cities in our county. We have 17 different contracts. That means we have 17 city managers that we need to keep happy. We have jurisdiction over Hill Air Force Base, and our county has about 325,000 residents. So that's a lot of pets, right? This next slide is a little disturbing. This is not pictures of our shelter, however, but I want to give you an idea of what we were 17 years ago. So this was us. We were the dog catchers. Officers were badge heavy. We wrote citations. There were no return to owners in the field. The animals just came up to the shelter. We were the pound. The pound was a horrible place to visit, and it was a horrible place for our animals. Some of the things that I heard from our leaders that were in those positions at the time was, that's the way we've always done it. We can't make those changes. That will never work. We will never do that. We are doing everything the best way we can. That's never going to happen. This is a little busy, and there are some things on here that are, again, a little disturbing to hear. Our euthanasia numbers were extremely high in dogs and cats, specifically cats. We did no adoptions on pit bulls, bully breeds, Dobermans, pit bull mixes, Shar-Peis, Chows. We've all heard that before, correct? All biter dogs were euthanized. No animal over 5 years old was adopted. Every feral cat was euthanized. Every sick and injured animal was euthanized. We did not work with rescues or the Humane Society. We had no volunteers. We had no foster program. Dogs and cats left the shelter unsterilized and unvaccinated, the lucky ones that got adopted. Live animals were sent to research labs. No programs in place to help the community that had pets. No education program, no off-site adoptions. There were no temperament testing on any of our animals that made it into the adoption program. It consisted of our director walking up the kennels and the stray areas and hand-picking the animals that were going to be moved over into adoption. And if you were a 1-year-old golden retriever, you were lucky. Everything else was just euthanized. We had no kennel enrichment. The dogs had no beds. There was no treats allowed in the kennels. Pregnant cats, pregnant dogs were euthanized, along with the babies. The shelter was really a horrible place, and it was a cold place to visit. We had no veterinarian or surgery room. So are we challenged? This was 17 years ago. We are so challenged. This just has to stop. It just has to stop, and it starts today. We had no mission statement. Our policies and procedures back in 2000 when I started were written in 1989. They're grossly outdated. We had a no mission statement, so this was a foundation. And I looked at this over the past couple of weeks and thought, we can change this a little bit because we've moved forward from this. But we had to have something that we had to work from. So we came up with this mission statement, and this is where we started. So what was the vision? Oops, how did I do that? Sorry. So what was the vision? The vision was to save lives. That's simple. So what can we do that's relatively quick? Some of these things weren't so quick, didn't happen so quickly, but so our high euthanasia numbers were in our cats. We needed to provide a space to showcase our adoptable cats. So we came up with this adoption community room. I had visited Salt Lake County several times and seen their cat community rooms, and wow, that was so amazing to me. And I went to Jackson Galaxy's session yesterday, and we've got so much more that we can do, and I'm so excited to go back to the shelter and implement some of those new ideas. And so we have some of these items, like I said, were budgeted in for, like the flooring, the cages, but you know what? This was a space that we could start adopting cats from. Paint. Paint is cheap. You can paint and it can just brighten your facility quickly. So we did that. None of our dogs, and this was something that I really wanted to focus on, none of our dogs had beds. And Corunda beds seemed to be the thing at the time, so it was around the holidays, and I thought, you know, I'm going to send out an email to the 750 county employees that we have working for Davis County and see if we have any generous donors out there that can provide an animal with a Corunda bed. By the end of the year, that year, every dog in there had a bed, and that was amazing to me, that just our county employees that were willing just to help. I did get a phone call from our IT department saying, you know, you can't really send out a blast email to county employees without permission. However, it worked, and that was the goal. I wanted each dog to have a bed. Surgery room. This was huge for us. We were sending animals out at the time through our adoption program that were unsterilized and not vaccinated. So what wasn't working for us? What wasn't working for us was a voucher program. We would adopt a dog out. Here's a $35 voucher. You need to take it to your veterinarian, get your animal spayed, neutered, and people just weren't doing that. I made a couple of phone calls to most recent adoptions, and I heard the same story. We just can't afford to come up with that extra money to get our animal spayed or neutered and vaccinated. So that wasn't working. So over the years, we had accumulated all of this money of unspent vouchers in a fund. So I looked at that number and I thought, holy crap, we can take this money and we can have our own surgery room, our own part-time veterinarian on board. We can send these animals out fixed, vaccinated, and microchipped. Who do I need to talk to? So I just made a phone call to the county commissioner, and I said, I need to meet with you, I need to meet with the county attorney, and I need to meet with the clerk auditor. I went there, I presented just what I've told you, and the answer was simply yes, do it. So I did, and by the end of the day, I think I'd spent all that money. I was so excited. We were gonna actually have our animals go out. They were gonna be spayed, they were going to be neutered, and they were going to be vaccinated. So in early 2009, I had heard of Best Friends. I wasn't really familiar with what amazing things they could offer. So I was actually attending a conference in St. George, and I'd made a couple phone calls to Best Friend, and I'd spoke to Anna Gauntz, who was the executive director at the time, and I said, you know, is there any way I can come and meet with you and see, Best Friends was helping Salt Lake County Animal Services, and what can we do to get there? So I met with her, and I met with Jamie Healy, who was there at the time, and we had great conversation. What's the direction you want to go? Saving lives, that's what we wanted to do. So from that meeting, the shelter was actually awarded 3 grants. And it allowed 2 of our employees to visit these amazing facilities. Longmont Humane in Colorado, Bad Rap in San Francisco, and Animal Farm Foundation in New York City. I came back from those facilities and was so inspired by what they were doing. It was incredible. I knew that we needed to get our animals that were, the dogs that were in our adoption kennels out of those kennels and into a playgroup setting. I knew that we needed to start adopting out pit bulls. I knew that each animal needed to be looked at as an individual. And I knew that we needed to start a volunteer program. So I came back, we started working on getting our volunteer program together. That took some time. Our volunteer program is still relatively new, but we do have a handful of really good volunteers that we can rely on. Our foster program was very difficult for our county attorney to grasp. Finally, we got that in place earlier this year, and we've utilized that program with some of our little kittens and some of our little medical dogs, so that's been awesome for us, and it's totally new. This is the shelter. It's totally new. We've never had volunteers. We've never had a foster program. So here we are. Our very first super adoption event was in 2009. I reached out to Holly Sizemore, and I called her, and I'll never forget the conversation with her. And I said, "Hi, Holly, this is Tracy. I'm with Davis County Animal Control." "Holly, are you there?" "Yes, we'd like to participate in super adoption." "Are you there, Holly?" "Holly." We took 6 dogs and 4 cats. We were so excited, and one of them was a pit bull. Within the hour, we adopted those animals out, and what a great feeling. It was like, we can do this. We can adopt out shelter animals. So that's how we got involved in super adoption. Now, wow. Super adoption, we just empty out our shelter. It's amazing. 2011. So this was a turning point for our shelter. This is when we got a new leader who was passionate and shared the same visions that we did. And this is when we really teamed up and became a part of the coalition. Play yard. Our play yard became a reality. Our current leader is Clint Thacker, and he happened to have a friend that owned a landscaping business. Wow, this is awesome. So he wanted to donate some time and some supplies to our shelter. Here we are. Now we've got a play yard. Now we can do play groups. This was going to happen, and our play yard is amazing. It's on the west side of our shelter. We have an incredible view. Boy Scouts are your best friends. They can do some amazing things for your shelters. We have a ton of projects that they've done for us. The benches that you see in our play yards, the houses that they built for us, they just recently put some cement down. It's just amazing. If you can utilize your Boy Scout groups, do it. At the beginning of 2011, we were also able to bring on board an adoption specialist. I felt that because we were moving all of our animals from our stray hold into our adoption program, that was going to fill our adoption kennels. So we needed someone to really focus and promote and push off-site adoptions, run promotions, and just really focus on those guys. So along with Best Friends, we teamed up, and they still help us fund that position every year. We run specials during the year. This last June, we were doing a promotion on our adoptions, and we did 115 adoptions, which I think is the most we've ever done. So that was huge for us. It was really important for me that every cat in our shelter have a den. A feral cat den. Best Friends again helped us fill that need for our cats in our shelter. I don't care if they don't use them or not. I want them to have the opportunity and have that in their kennel if they want it. TNR, 2 years. We've saved 511 lives. That's so amazing. Again, teaming up with Best Friends, and Arlen and myself and Clint spent a long summer going to each of our city council meetings and really selling that component for our shelter. That was a huge step for us, and it's been amazing. Like I said, 511 additional lives saved in the last 2 years. The kitten nursery, oh man, this is so amazing. In just over a year, we've been able to save 199 more lives. And this is just incredible. These are incredible numbers for us. We started offering public vaccinations and microchipping to the public and to low-income people. This was another huge step for us. This is something that we'd never done before. And our target audience here was people that just basically could not afford to go to the veterinarian to get these services. Rescues. We couldn't do this without our rescues. And I know there was some sour relationships earlier on that we were able to overcome. We'd never worked with rescues before. But so far this year, we've been able to send 584 animals to rescues. We couldn't do this without them. And the relationships that we have with them now is just incredible. It's just amazing. This was another area in our shelter that was a dead space. We really wanted to showcase our cats. So along with Best Friends again and being part of that coalition team, we were able to create this awesome space that's just right inside our shelter door for our adoptable cats. We have about 6 or 7 cats in there at a time, but it's so lit. There's no stress in there. There's no sickness. The cats are happy, and this has just been amazing. The cat tower on the end, we just put that in about 3 weeks ago and started adopting out kittens out of that area because we never really had an area. We don't have an area in our shelter to showcase our kittens. We've actually done 15 adoptions out of that little cat tower, and that was a $150 investment. Thank you. Medical fund. We are not a full-service clinic in our shelter. However, we do get animals in with broken bones and that need blood work. So a couple of these guys I want to spotlight here. Our little kitty on the end that's showing me her paw. She came in with a fractured paw. An amazing little cat. She just was incredible. So we took her to the veterinarian. We got her some x-rays. We were able to keep her in a cast for a couple of weeks. We were able to keep her well. She got adopted a couple of weeks ago. Moving to our little senior pit bull, Sunny. She came in as a stray. Nobody came to claim her. But she had this horrible skin condition. So we took her to the veterinarian again, got some blood work, found out she's got a thyroid problem. That's easy, that's medication. She was adopted last week. So again, being part of the coalition and being able to have this medical fund so that we can support and help these guys, this is what we're all about now. So in closing, these are our year-to-date numbers. These are our year-to-date numbers. Our live release rate for dogs, 96.40. Live release rate for cats is 93.91. That's just incredible. Thank you. We were awarded Best of State just this year. So I can't begin to tell you how proud I am to be a part of this coalition and part of Davis County Animal Care and Control. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the conference.
So that's what it's all about, right? Is all of us coming together and helping our county and city shelters accomplish these incredible things. So thank you, Tracy, for sharing that experience. So I want to close just by sharing with you our NKUT manifesto. Perhaps you've heard it before. There's a number that's part of this that I'm going to read that just 3 years ago was 12,000, and now it's much lower, which is great. So the NKUT manifesto: we are the best friends of animals. We are a movement. We are a coalition of organizations and passionate individuals dedicated to making Utah a no-kill state. Last year, more than 3,200 animals were killed in Utah shelters simply because they didn't have a safe place to call home. Each one an individual, each one a loving pet worth saving. More than 3,200 dogs and cats. That number should be 0, and it can be. We can save them all, but only if we work together. Join us and help turn Utah into no-kill Utah. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for coming to Utah.